Recording in 3, 2, 1. See, we need money. Welcome back to Oro's Digest. It's been a long while. We've been chasing the paper. That's why I got lost. So if you want us to have more episode, tuma kakitu bana. Tuma kitu. So we can able to do more episodes. Now, what prompted me to come back is because of Starlink.
Wanaleta kitu inaitwa Starlink. Na hao wanaleta internet where actually we cannot even get anything from them.
Do you have a Starlink? I pity you very much, just like I'm pitying myself. Now, let me take you down an interesting part that I've seen happen a lot of times. And this is back to July 25th, which I think we should call it Maandamano Day in Kenya. This time it found me deep in Homa Bay County. I was relaxing, enjoying my busa and having a holiday off while monitoring what was happening in Nairobi. And as you remember, the previous week before that, there was like a mini Maandamano. I was quick to know what's happening in Nairobi because I had good internet and I was on Twitter and I could check what was happening. But I remember that time in the evening, I was taking a walk to one of the local bars and I saw people congregated. I'd left my phone in the house to charge and I decided to go and join these local people to figure out what's the amazing story in the village. Then it turned out Nairobi was on fire.
Demonstrators stormed Parliament. Lawmakers were discussing a controversial new finance bill. Other buildings, including Nairobi City Hall, were also set ablaze. Our teams on the ground, CNN teams, have seen police firing live rounds into the crowd, as well as using tear gas and water cannons.
Parliament had been stormed, and everyone was busy, talking about president being set in Kenya. So I rushed back home to pick my phone and check on Twitter and all the videos and tweets and everything that was happening. And I felt really connected to what was happening in Nairobi. Now, fast forward to around 6 p.m. I remember the internet started getting slower. And I was refreshing my app and checking if everything is okay. And then abruptly, but about 6:30, the internet went off. And I couldn't access anything. I couldn't access Twitter. I remember how much enraged that I was about this, because I was like, maybe something's happening in Nairobi. Maybe there's a change in government and I don't know. Maybe there's a revolution happening. I don't know. So I was really eager to get information. The only thing I could do is go check back the TVs, but the TVs were no longer showing anything live. They're just replaying the videos that were happening during the day. So I got quite anxious and I couldn't tweet and do anything. Until at about, I think it was about 10 p.m. at night, just before sleeping, I realized the internet was coming back up. So when I started searching, everyone was talking about the internet shutdown or the internet cable cuts that had happened, but no one was buying that, including myself, because I was like, this is so timely. At 6, the time the government had given out a circular that all protests will cease by 6 p.m. And exactly by 6 p.m., the internet went down. Then it felt like, okay, there must be some interference here. It's a coincidence. it's a correlation, but there was no proof of that. Now, there's a graph shown by Cloudflare how the internet had surged. The internet use in Kenya had surged about 6 p.m. and then all of a sudden it went down. And similar charts from Uganda, Burundi, and South Sudan showed that similar drop in internet usage. Now that's primarily because Burundi and Uganda, South Sudan get served by the fiber optic cable that lands in Mombasa. But now the question was, if it was a cut, normally it gets announced. Like the previous cut in May, which happened somewhere around South Africa, there was a fishing boat that had an anchor that was dragging in the seabed that went and cut a cable, and it was quickly identified where it was, and it was announced that it would take a few weeks to get that restored. But this time there was only a statement from Safaricom, Airtel, that there's been a cable cut, but no one was really buying it. So I remembered, good Lord, Elon Musk to the rescue.
Fine. I'll do it myself.
One of the things that everyone knew about is that it's very hard to tamper with internet to satellite communication, or he thought so. So I came back to Nairobi, and one of my stupid friends convinced me to get a Starlink. At that time, it was not even in the offer yet. So I got myself a Starlink. It was very easy to set up, and I loved it. No longer, you don't need any technician. You just put it in a place that has direct view to the sky, and then you connect it to an app, and then the app finds an obstructed view and then sets up the Starlink. So I set up myself on the Starlink, sat down, and I was happy about it. But then, in the middle of the night, I started doing some speed tests, and they were quite low. I think I was getting like 7 Mbps, 8 Mbps, and I was like, maybe the Starlink is adjusting, it's acclimatizing to the new environment. I woke up the next day and I did several tests, but I was not convinced because the Starlink was selling that you get about 200 Mbps in the country. So I was like, okay, let me give it a few days. So as every day went, I was getting snapshots of the speed test. The highest that I got was about 43 Mbps on downloads. And I started having a buyer's remorse. Like, did I get the right thing? Well, am I set up correctly? Is everything going on well? And then I started taking video calls, and I started realizing that there's a lag on my videos. And this became a problem for me because I take a lot of calls on Zoom, on Google Meets, and without that consistent connection, that was a problem. Now, I switched to YouTube because I listen to a lot of music and watch a lot of stuff on YouTube. My YouTube started buffering, and I was like, okay. Now, I thought I was moving from something bad to something better, but it seems I'm actually getting a degraded service. So because I didn't want to seem like I've made a bad investment, so I just hope that everything will turn out well. So at this point, I was paying 6,500 Kenya shillings for what Starlink refers to as residential connection. And that means they restrict you to one location. You can't use the device for moving around like on your car, on a ship, or any other movable vehicle in that case. So when I went to renew now the pay for the next month, got a message that, oh, the 6,500 package is full, so you have to upgrade. Then I was like, okay, it seems like I have no choice. So I upgraded to 10,000 shillings. Then that was during the month. Then the invoice for next month came in, I think a little bit towards the mid of that month. And then when I checked the invoice, the 10,000 shilling package was also full. Now I was forced to upgrade to 14,000 Kenya shillings. Allah! Now the anger started filling into me. I'm paying 14,000 shillings for a highly degraded service. On home fiber, I was paying 4,500 shillings for a very good service, or good enough. At least I could do video calls, I could go on YouTube and use it for daily things. Now I'm paying almost thrice the amount that I used to pay, but now for a degraded service. I just felt like I'm losing my mind because it doesn't feel right.
Why, Dada? Why?
This is business.
This is my sweat.
I know, but I did business.
Shut up! Shut up!
This is business.
Now, I went and checked online on Twitter if other people are having similar problems, and I realized people were complaining about highly degraded services on Starlink, especially in Nairobi. No one is saying that I'm having a great service. And I remember seeing, during just right after the protest, there were photos everywhere of border people with like 4 or 5 Starlinks, on their pylon, driving them everywhere, and people having photos of having Starlinks on their balcony, rooftops, and people saying like, hey, you know what, Safaricom and the other, or mostly Safaricom, is going to lose a lot of customers to Starlink. And I was like, hold on, is everyone having the same experience that I'm having? Because home fiber is starting to feel more attractive than the Starlink that I had. Now, a lot of people, including myself, moved to Starlink because of rage. Not a very good reasoned out, logic about how much does it cost, how much speed do I get, what's the reliability on it. I know one person sent me their speed tests in Western Kenya, where they had about 93 Mbps on download. I barely get half of that in Nairobi. Perhaps experiences are different, but I feel like a lot of people are having buyer's remorse. Data from the Communication Authority shows that in March of this year, there were about 4,000 Starlink devices bought in the country. By June, that number doubled to about 8,300 in June. My hunch is that if we check end of Q4 in December, that number will either stabilize there or actually reduce. There are a lot of people who will drop Starlink because it's not a very good option if you live in the city. First of all, you need access to a rooftop or an obstructed view of the sky, which a lot of people don't have. At 14,000 Kenya shillings, I'd have 3 home fibers. I have JTL, I would have Safaricom, and perhaps any other provider, all of running into my house for redundancy purposes for that. So I think a lot of us will go and dust back our home fiber routers and connect it back to where it is and keep Starlink perhaps for the future or for something else, or sell it to anyone else who needs the Starlink. So it'll still remain a very niche product for people living in far-flung areas, in the rural areas, in the heart of Masai Mara, or somewhere where you don't have good 4G coverage and you don't have fiber optic network. But if you live in the city, you don't need Starlink. So what do I feel about this whole experience? If you go and read through Starlink's terms and conditions, they don't promise you 200 Mbps. They say that it's at best attempt, which means that they'll try their best to give you that speed, but they might also not give you that speed.
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
So if you don't get it, don't blame us. So I feel like I didn't get my money's worth. Until next time, click, like, subscribe, and share. Notoweka kitu. Hey, so we are looking for sponsors for this channel. As a subscriber, as a viewer, we'll really appreciate how much any money you will donate to this channel so we can bring more awesome videos to you. So we'll have a link there for you. Please donate some money to us so we can keep staying awesome.